the medication and the therapy together. And this is all to say that it can go sideways quickly.
Mhm.
And that's to put it nicely. Like, I am still in shock of how little support, and I appreciate that you're giving your doctors like a lot of credit and whatever, but I think they could have done better in my opinion. And I don't know the answer, but like I said, I think it's better to overreact than to underreact. And then you kind of alluded to, or you said that it was put on you to seek out this help and decide if it's bad enough and this and that. And what comes with the feeling this way is the guilt and feeling like you don't have the time or the mental capacity to be doing all of this.
Yeah.
So it's just very frustrating and sad, honestly, that you are the center of attention and then the babies, for you, babies come out and you're not anymore. But good for you for advocating for yourself and doing that, because you're right. I mean, it's not normal. And as far as like the baby blues, I know that that is a common thing, and but that is so starkly different from how bad postpartum depression can get and postpartum anxiety. So it's just a very thin line, and it is scary. Did you feel comfortable like sharing these feelings before, or are you just now kind of able to talk about it with your husband or your parents or your in-laws? Like, do they all know what was going on?
They definitely didn't know what was going on. And it was more so on my part, which is something that I'm working on in therapy. But so I had a family wedding in May, and I think the week or 2 weeks before, John was at work, and I texted him and I said, "When you get home, I need to leave. No explanation. Like, I need
Mhm.
to get out. I need to get away." So when he came home, he, sat down with me just to ask what was going on. And I said, "I cannot be here. I need to go away for the night. I need to recuperate. I need to figure something out and I can come back." I said, "But I'm extremely nervous to be around our kids right now and I just need to go." So I texted my friend to see if I could stay with her the night. We ended up going out to dinner. We watched a movie. I slept in a bed other than my own. I didn't get woken up by kids at 6 o'clock in the morning. I didn't have to feed anybody. I didn't have to do anything. And just that one night away made me realize how much bigger this issue was and how not in control I was of my life. Um, and needless to say, when I came home after spending the night away, that's when like everything broke loose. Again, screaming match with my husband, more so on my end of what was going on and like blaming him that he didn't truly understand how I was feeling. And it it was so crazy that it got to that point, and that was the driving point for me to say this is not okay. Like we had plans to go out, not to like go out, but we had plans to go to have dinner for my father-in-law's birthday, and we were going to bring the twins with us and we just celebrate. My husband had to cancel the plans cuz he's like, I don't know what's going on with Alex, but she's not okay. I cannot I cannot take her out. I do not feel safe leaving her at home right now. She cannot be with the kids by herself right now. And like him telling his parents that, one, was very scary for me to see, to know and hear from him, but also two, like, breaking point. Like if my husband needs to go to work but doesn't feel safe with me being home with our children, that's a problem.
Mhm.
And like my mother-in-law came over and to not to watch me, but to have another set of hands on deck because I only have two, but with two kids, if they need to be held and the other one starts crying or needs to, well, they eat together, thank goodness. But like if something happens to the other one, like I can't immediately drop what I'm doing, because dropping what I'm doing is putting a child down.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but that was it. And then we went away for the wedding, and just that weekend away, like I came back so refreshed, and I so needless to say, like that was also another indicator of I need to take more time for myself. I might be on this medication and I might be doing an hour of therapy every week, but I need something more. I can't just be mom all day, every day, and do absolutely nothing for myself, because at the end of the day, like if I'm not mentally prepared for the next day, like those
Mhm.
those kids can't take care of themselves yet. They
Mhm.
need somebody, and if I'm not okay, like it's just not going to be okay for all of us.
Mhm. It sounds like you've been able to kind of formulate this story and stuff like well,
Yeah.
and I think you've probably done a lot of reflecting on this time, which is amazing, and I hope that you're feeling like you're in like a better place right now, but I think one takeaway is that it's always going to need to be addressed. Like it's not something that you're just fixed. And like you said before, like you had to up your medication. And so it's a whole long journey of like being honest with yourself, what you need. And taking that time is so critical, whether you're struggling with your mental health or not. I
Mhm.
think one of the things for me is feeling like I'm mainly a stay-at-home mom. I do content creation and stuff now, but I do not work as much as I used to, and my husband's out of the house working, and he works a lot. So I feel like I don't deserve a break, or I shouldn't complain because he's out of the house. But it goes back to the comparison thing. Like you do need a break. Like everybody needs a break.
Oh yeah.
And it's like an underlying thing too. You might not realize how stressed you are or how overwhelmed you are until that breaking point, like you said. So what are you doing now to like help yourself? Are you during the summer stretch since you aren't leaving for school?
So I joined a kickball league, so that gets me out Thursday night.
Awesome. Yeah.
Um, and I did signed up slash I was asked to be a part of a couple of different com- communities for work.
Mhm.
So that also gets me out for a couple hours Monday and Wednesdays. But also like there have been some days that I haven't been able to, but I take the kids outside and we go for a walk, and I do about a mile and a half to 2 miles with them. And now with them sleeping, they're down to two naps, but they're taking like pretty solid naps. I have more time to do stuff for myself. So I definitely don't take that for granted. And then if it's raining or anything, I know the kids are still with me, so I'm not 100% alone. But even taking them out of the house to a different environment, to Target, just sitting in the backyard with them, going to my friend's house and hanging out with her and her two kids and the twins, like being able getting out of the four walls that we're in every single day has been such a change. I had the twins in November, so we were stuck inside because it was too cold for them. Too much of this flu season, like it was crazy. But definitely getting outside as much as I possibly can has been such a lifesaver. Um, and really, I'm more aware of needing to take more time for myself.
Mhm.
Even unfortunately, even if it's like taking a shower, just so
Mhm.
that I can like reflect and be on my own.
Mhm.
One day I took one of the kids food shopping and my sister-in-law stayed with the other one, and like, oh my goodness. Having one child, I'm like, wow.
Yeah. Wow. I can't imagine the difference. I'm sure it's a a lot easier.
It is so much easier to have, well, I don't want to take away anything from a parent who only has one
Oh,
child,
no. You have twins, you can say whatever you wanna say.
but it really is like
Mhm.
sometimes I'm like, wait a second, if I only had one, would I be this stressed out? I probably would. But like
Mhm.
it really is. It's much simpler because you only have to worry about one kid. When that one kid goes to bed, even if they don't sleep the whole time that you would like them to, like,
Mhm.
all right, you want to cuddle? That's fine because I don't need to worry about another one waking up.
Yeah, yeah. No, seriously, like I said, I give you all the credit, and I give you all the credit for asking for help, and I think a big part of that is the dynamic between your husband and you. Did you feel like that was a huge problem, like your marriage and how you said that you were yelling? Like, do you guys handle the stress similarly? Like, what was the dynamic there, and how is it now?
So he definitely handles stress differently than I do. For
Mhm.
him, getting that stress out is about working out. Um, it's yard work, but like going out and mowing the lawn. He needs that time to think and to like just do something for himself. For me, it's a really, really bad trait, but I just hold all of that stuff in, and then
Mhm.
the like lid comes off the bottle and
Mhm.
everything just explodes. So I have been very conscious of trying to work on that. Um, because it's so bad for your health, I think, to hold things in.
For
Um,
sure.
but since doing therapy, and he actually sat in on a therapy session with me because my therapist thought it was very healthy for him to see what I was going through, and not just from my perspective, but to get a professional's perspective and to
Mhm.
hear a professional saying, your wife is not okay. I know you know your wife is not okay, but listen to her, she's really not okay. And it was suggested that we have a check-in with each other, because talking about my feelings is very difficult, even though it doesn't sound like it, but it is hard for me to talk to him about them.
Mhm.
So we've been doing check-ins with each other of like, how are things going? How are you feeling? And it really has helped, because now when something is happening with me, I don't feel like I have to hide it as much as I did in the past, and I'm a little bit more open with him, which I think is so helpful because he can see. And it's not perfect yet because there are things that I still like bottle up, but it's getting better every single day. um you know and last night he came home exhausted from work, but I was also mentally done. And this morning I just talked to him like, I'm not saying I resent you, but you taking a nap before we went out last night was super annoying because our kids were doing things and I was taking care of them because you needed time to take a little snooze, which is fine. Like, sometimes I take a little cat nap when they're napping. So I
Yeah.
totally get it. But
Yeah.
it definitely, we still handle stress in a similar way that we were before. Um, but like I said, I'm definitely trying to work on myself and work on handling it better, because just blowing up at him and like it doesn't help anybody.
Yeah, I get that. My husband and I definitely are different with that, and it's hard not to keep score. Like that is such a detriment. Like you should not do that. But like with
Yeah.
the nap thing, it's like, okay, so I like to talk a lot on my social media about like stress thresholds and how much stress somebody can take. And I've actually looked into it because sometimes I have to like convince myself that I'm correct. Like that's a thing. These like other people in my life aren't just like making this up, like they might need some extra rest or whatever. So it's hard, not to keep score when they take a nap or whatever. But it really just comes down to kind of like your individual ability to handle the stress. And I wanted to also kind of point out that it doesn't